All right, this is dog meat, and welcome back to my minuscule little channel.
Operator? Is that a pun?
I really wasn't gonna do this video, but I decided that a lot of things been going on in Warframe for me. Getting a more clan members, getting more people interested in the game. Every now and then, like, I jump back and forth between this and Destiny 2 to kind of just see how they're making changes or any improvements on that game, which they're not really, and stuff like that. So, as many of you know from like past videos, I was a big Destiny fan, and I did that for like the longest time. I started getting into Warframe at the end of Destiny's life cycle, so I've been playing since about August of 2017. One of the things that I've enjoyed about the Warframe and the Warframe community is it gives me the feeling that I had when I first started playing Destiny, and how the community was, and everybody was like really helpful. A lot of people weren't, there's like no egos, there's nothing. Everybody was there to help each other out. Get through the raids, like, the Vault of Glass, and, just really friendly and helpful. Well, at the end of Destiny's life cycle, it started getting, like, pretty bad. Like, there's this kind of sense of elitism, and, a lot of these guys that had channels and stuff like that, they were kind of arrogant. In fact, they're like really arrogant, like, towards the end and stuff. And it was just kind of a very toxic community, and it kind of remains that way. So, when I'm on Warframe and I see how the community is, and see that, it's a much better community in terms of people like willing to help you out, people enthusiastic about, helping you learn this game a little more and stuff like that. I enjoy it. It brings back memories. But one of the things is, like I was talking before in like one of my previous videos, a lot of Destiny YouTubers are jumping on Warframe. Now the only problem with that is because Destiny was a popular game and everything, these guys have a captive audience. One guy has like 77,000 subscribers. Another guy has 270 subscribers. So right away, these guys start putting out, and this is one of the things that just kind of blows me away, is they took that arrogance from Destiny and brought it over to Warframe. So now they're putting these guides out with, builds and, beginners tips and all this, and these guys are beginners themselves. One guy hasn't even been past, like, the War Within, and he's gonna, his next guide that he wants to put out is to tell you about the focus schools and stuff like that. And one of the things that I do is I just kind of put out stuff that I learned along the way that I think might be beneficial for new players. But you'll always hear me refer you to either going to the Warframe wiki, or usually I'll have veteran Warframe channels posted in my descriptions and stuff like that, so that you can actually go to a better source and stuff. What I try to do is I just try to break down things like kind of Barney style and stuff like that, that where it's not going to overcomplicate things a little, too much. At least I hope that's what I do. A lot of stuff that I'm going to be putting out in this video, it's not going to be essentially like telling you how to build or how to mod your weapons or Warframes. I'm just going to go over, like, as far as like the several different types of mods that are out there that are available to you. So one of the guys that I used to be like a really big fan of his, as far as like, his YouTube content and everything, he put out this video about modding, and he's definitely one of those guys who's brand new to this game. In fact, I think I've been playing this game longer than he has, and he goes over some stuff, and he goes over some kind of intermediate, to advanced kind of tips for modding. Now, not to say that a new player can't do that or can't accomplish that or anything. It's just that when you're first learning the game, everything is so overwhelming, like as far as like the movement, how the warframes work, how the different types of damages work and everything like that. And it's just it's kind of a lot to take in. So what I'm going to do is this video is going to be mod basics, and I'm just going to kind of explain. We'll grab like a couple weapons that we got because, you know, by the way, it is Warframe's anniversary, like 5th year, 5 years of Warframe. So, you know, congratulations, DE. And congratulations to the community, man. I mean, you guys have really brought this game a long way and stuff, you know. It definitely, you know, was put on my radar because of you guys and stuff. And I thank you because this game is an awesome experience. And for you newer players that may not feel that it may be, all I can tell you is wait till you get to like the Second Dream and the War Within. You'll be pleasantly surprised and blown away. So we're going to go over this like real quick. And one of the channels that I want to put in the description is I want to put NeoNess's channel and stuff. Because the guy is a veteran Warframe player. He played on Xbox for like the longest time, but because the Plains of Eidolon was coming out, he made an account on PC, started leveling a character, and he actually had this real phenomenal idea. What he did is he started doing a beginner's guide of him leveling his character on PC, going from, you know, start to, you know, getting him up to the Plains of Eidolon and stuff like that. And he is really, really helpful as far as like that. Now, some of the stuff it may have been repeated from past videos, but because this video is going to be here for, you know, players to look for mods and stuff like that, and to kind of think about what they're doing, you know, when they're modding weapons and everything like that, then this I'm going to, you know, basically repeat some of the information and stuff, so that way they don't have to go through a video of me ranting or you know, just basically droning on about something. So I'm going to try and keep it short and simple and try not drone too much. Basically, I talked about, you know, what you want to look for, like when you're modding and stuff. So we're going to go through this real quick. One of the things that NeoNess pointed out, and, you know, I didn't know when I first started playing this game, is you basically go through and you start to play the beginning quest, which is kind of like a tutorial quest and stuff like that. And, you know, I became very interested in the game and kind of studying like a little more. Now, before, it was advised that when you're first going through the star chart to do the auto installation. And that is fine, you know, at least for you to concentrate on the other stuff like the movements, the weapons, and all this other stuff. It's fine up until a certain point, you know, but after a certain point, you really want to learn how to mod your frames and weapons so that you can go higher. I spoke before that everything as far as like your weapons and your warframes cap out at level 30. But when you get further into the star chart and you open up more of the game, the enemies get more difficult and they get harder. So NeoNess was basically putting out that when you do the first couple missions in Warframe and you're going through the star chart, you get what's known as damaged mods. And I explained this in one of my other videos and all that. And basically what it is the first few mods that you get and everything like that, they're not reaching the full potential as like a regular. You know, like right here I have a damaged streamline. And you can see like that is maxed. And I maxed that, you know, because earlier I didn't know, you know, what I was doing and stuff like that. But you can see right there that it's not reaching the fullest potential that a regular streamline would. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, one of the things you want to look at when you're thinking about modding your frame or your weapons and stuff like that is you want to take a look at the stats. And it'll kind of give you an idea of like which way to go with like your different types of frames and weapons and stuff. Like, you know, as you can see, like Rhino here, he starts off with a pretty good amount of armor and stuff like that. So, you know, it'd be beneficial to make this guy like really tanky. And some of his powers and stuff. You can see like currently the build that I have, the stats on the left is how they increased through the modding system, and then the stats on the right is what every like pretty much Warframe like basically starts out as. But they're going to be different between Warframes. You just kind of keep that in mind. Is it a tanky frame? Is it a caster frame? You know, like you take, I'll use Banshee as an example over here because she is not tanky in the least. Now, I have like 3 builds on my Banshee and stuff like that. I have like the Resonating Quake, and then I have a Resonance build, and this is more of a team build right here, and then I have a Savage Silence, which is more for solo. But as you can see there on the stats, like Rhino had 275 base armor, Banshee here only has 65. And no matter if I throw a steel fiber in there or whatever, I'll never get that armor up to at least an optimal level. So that's kind of like some of the things you have to keep in mind for that. So real quick, I talked about the polarized slots and everything like that. The main thing is what you do when you match polarities on your frame. It does a few things for you. When you match polarities on your aura mod, like I'll see if I'll have like let me see here. Let me go ahead and take off. It probably won't let me take off corrosive projection because it's maxed out over here. But basically that mod sits at like it's a dash mod, right? So like sprint boost is a dash also. So what that does is normally that has like a 7 capacity. One of the things is when you the aura slot with the polarity, it doubles the capacity. That's why you see like over there like the capacity is 4. That's how much I could put into it. Now, some things that you may not know as a newer player, in order to get it to where you're getting a 60, you know, because like as you go through and you level, once you hit level 30 and all that, if you don't have a reactor installed, the most that you'll be able to put in there for capacity wise is 30 capacity points and stuff. But in order to double it, you have to throw in this thing called an Orokin reactor. And then on the weapons is an Orokin catalyst, and what that's going to do is it's going to double your mod slots. You know, well, not slots, but capacity, excuse me. So in the Warframe's case, when you match your polarities with your aura, then it's going to give you more capacity points to put towards a build. Like, that's how I'm at 74, like right there, because I have Banshee's polarity matched with her aura and everything. Now, for the rest of them, the polarized slots, like right here, it's going to half the capacity that this takes. Like that vitality there realistically takes away 12 capacity points, but because I have it in a slot that's matched with the polarity, it only halves it, takes half of it. So the guy, the Destiny guy, man, he went over intermediate like stuff and everything like that. So you have what's known as corrupted mods, and these are kind of for an intermediate player. This is actually for when you start getting higher up in the star chart and your enemies are at higher levels and stuff like that. You want to be able to put out as much damage as you possibly can, or have as much casting ability as you can, because some of the Warframes, they have damage that levels over time and stuff like that. And the guy went over there and he was saying you absolutely have to throw like corrupted mods in your build, and you have to do this and you have to do that and all this other stuff. And then he was calling the drift mods like Exilus mods. And the reason why is because yes, you can throw a drift mod in the Exilus slot, but you can actually throw a drift mod anywhere with the exception of the Aura slot in a build and stuff like that. So you get these. And this is the thing, is this isn't going to be available for new players. This is why I kind of was like, why are you showing new players this when they don't have the only way that you'd be able to get these as a newer player without getting past the second dream is through trade chat and stuff like that. But once you get past the second dream, you open up Lua, which is basically the moon, and you have to do puzzle rooms to basically get these drift mods and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Like this is just modding basics, just to kind of throw what types of mods out there for stuff that you could think about. One of the things that I found interesting is the guy did not mention primed mods at all and stuff like that. And these mods are ideal for any player to try and get, be it a new or a intermediate and advanced. Of course, you want them more for advanced builds, but as a new player, you don't have to kill yourself to try and get these. Just be in mind that the Void Trader usually sells these, and that's Borrow Katir. He comes every other Friday. But you could also get them through Trade Chat. But keep in mind, if you do it through Trade Chat, you have to have 1,000,000 credits for the tax. Like I was saying in a past video, whenever you do trades, there's a certain tax that falls. Most people prefer to do it in a dojo because the credits go back to them. But if you go to like Maru's Bazaar, there's like something like a 5% like sales tax, which means they take a portion of your credits, as along with the plat that you trade between the players and all that other stuff, or whatever you're trading. So just kind of keep that in mind. For prime continuity, prime mods like Prime Continuity and Prime Flow, if I was to sit there and trade this with somebody, I would have to have, and they would have to have a million. Well, I think it's just the person like buying it. But anyways, they would have to have at least 1,000,000 credits to cover the tax to basically, get the mod. So kind of keep that in mind. It's better just to wait for the Void Trader to come along and stuff like that, especially if you're newer in the game. These mods, you won't necessarily have to have them, or you don't really have to have them at all. I mean, you could do a build around them, but they do help out a lot because you can see like right there the stats that this actually is beneficial to your Warframe. And when you're doing the builds with these corrupted mods, like the guy spoke about corrupted mods at length, but he never really said why you needed them or why you wanted them or why you wanted to get your hands on them and stuff like that. So the strength mod that you get in the game just through doing the star chart is a intensify. And as you can see right there, the max that intensify is ever going to give me is 30% like strength, ability strength like that. Now, if I want to ramp that strength up to be able to do certain things like, in Banshee's case, like I have a corrosive projection on her, so I want to be able to melt armor from using like some of her abilities, like, her sonic boom. And you can see the augment, which I have there. And it says like what it does is basically it'll drop their armor long enough for me to take them out, especially with Banshee not being as tanky as some of the other Warframes. So in order for me to get the most out of that, I want some pretty decent strength on her. So every time I cast her abilities, it's gonna give me the advantage to basically complete the mission and get through the enemies and stuff. So that's why you would want a corrupted mod, because as you can see there, a blind rage actually will give you like 63% strength, but since it is a corrupted mod, it has a negative disadvantage to it, which basically you could see for yourself is a decrease in efficiency. And efficiency for newer players, just to kind of keep that in mind, that's basically the energy that you get to use your Warframe's abilities and stuff like that. This is going to mitigate like chewing up that energy like a lot. It's going to help you be able to manage your energy like a little bit better and stuff like that. So to counteract that, that's why you would want to have primed mods in there, and then sometimes other corrupted mods can help counteract that as well, which that's why I have a fleeting expertise in here. So the guy talked about going through doing vault runs and stuff like that. And for those of you who don't know, in order to get these mods, you have to go to the derelict and stuff. It's ideal to be in a fire team. I have a video about why a new player would want to be a part of a clan or be in a dojo or start a dojo. And one of the benefits to having that is you could get what's known as dragon keys. And what they do is they put a certain status effect that puts your Warframe at a disadvantage. Because one of these keys, basically, when you equip it, there's 4 keys. The reason why you want to do a fire team of 4 is you want to have each person in the fire team equip one of those keys. And when you go through and you do derelict missions, there will be a door that will be locked, and the only way to open it is with a dragon key. So that's one of the benefits to being in a clan or having a clan or having a dojo for yourself. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right, so that's the Warframe part of it and everything. Like I said, just kind of keep in mind, take a look at the base stats on your frame, find out where it can shine. And one of the guys I'm putting in the description, I'll put this guy MC Gamer's and stuff, and he goes over the different Warframes, like reviews and everything. You guys could check his channel out. He's been playing for a while, and yeah, he's pretty knowledgeable. And a lot of the veteran players are very knowledgeable. They could tell you how damage, like how, you know, basically like armor stacks and you know, the different types of damage, and you know, how to get the best out of your mods and stuff like that. Okay, so basically I'm gonna grab a brand new weapon I got the other day. So I got this Dex Sabras, right? So one weapon, and I'm just gonna go over this like real quick for you know, newer players to kind of understand. One of the things is you want to put basic damage mods into your weapon and stuff like that. And what type of damage mods is going to be dependent on the stats. So some of the first things that I look for on a weapon and everything is when I get it, I take a look. The first thing I do is, like, if you look at the second on the stats and everything, if you look at the second line down, crit chance, right? 35% crit chance. Plus it has a multiplier of, you know, 2 times and everything like that. And then you could go through the rest of the stuff. Now, when you go down there and it gets down to status, I'm looking at the status chance as well. And what this is going to tell me is basically what I want to mod this weapon for. Do I want to mod it for crits, or do I want to mod it for status? Regardless, I always throw like just a little bit of status on a weapon, even though if it may be more of a crit weapon. And then the damage type is basically going to give me an idea of what type of status that I want to put on this. So as you can see there, that's what you want to start paying attention as far as when you're doing the basic damage types, is what is the most prevalent type of damage: slash, impact, or puncture. For any like rifle or primary weapon, you're gonna want to throw serration in there. That's just damage like right across the board and stuff like that. What I usually do is I usually throw like a multi-shot and everything like that. And then since this is a slash-based weapon, I could probably throw this Fanged Fuse, you know, that, well, I don't know how to pronounce like the other word, but I usually throw that mod in there as well and stuff like that. And then of course, since it is slash-based and it does have crit chance, then, you know, from there I'd want to put to increase that crit chance to make that weapon to play off of its strengths and give it a little more, you know, chance to actually hit the crits. For the status, in order not to chew up so much of the capacity, I would probably throw a Malignant Force, and as you can see there, it will increase the status like a little bit, and then I'd probably throw a Rhyme Rounds and stuff like that. Because it's a slash-based weapon, I most likely would want to do viral damage and stuff. And you guys can go to the codex and take a look at the mods, and it will show you the different combinations of combining the two mods. And I'll show you guys quick. So if I throw a Malignant Force up in here, and then I throw the Rhyme Rounds, you see in green right there, it gives me like 90 damage. Now if I do Malignant Force and Thermite Rounds, then it'll give me gas and stuff like that. And that is going to be crucial to like how you're modding your weapons for what type of damage you want to put out. So keep in mind that the elemental mods, like how you put them on your builds, is gonna, you know, dictate like what the damage is and stuff like that. Like if I go Rhyme Rounds and I go like high voltage, and then let's say like I throw like Thermite in there, right? So you see like how the status changed. So now it's doing like radiation damage, whereas before it was just doing magnetic and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. And like I said, the codex can show you the different things. Now when I switch them around and stuff like that, a lot of the times it will change. See how it changed? So just, you know, like I said, if there's any questions, there's veteran Warframe channels that can explain this. And of course there's the codex in the game itself. And the codex in the game itself will basically tell you what combination of elemental mods you could put together for the different types of damage. These dual stat mods, like right here, there's a few ways to get them. And you go to some of the older channels. You could get them through doing spy missions sometimes, and you could also get them from Corrupted Vor. And it's basically like Vor, when you run into Vor every now and then in the Void and stuff like that. So just keep that in mind. That's some of the mods that are out there. So real quick, just to give you an idea, Hornet Strike's going to be like your basic damage for your secondaries. You know, and then it's shotguns and stuff like that. It will be
check navigation.
Like, let me grab my Arcaplasmor real quick so you guys can see that. That's what I had on before. Like, basically your point blanks and stuff like that. And like I said, if you get your hands on some Prime mods, it will definitely amp up like the output and everything of your Warframe and weapons and stuff like that. As a newer player, you really don't have, you really don't have to be about it at that point, but just keep in mind, like, when you get to a certain point in the star chart, and you will get to a certain point in the star chart where you're not putting out as much damage on enemies and stuff like that, and that's when you really need to kind of reevaluate like your mods and what type of mods you need and all that, and that's when you might want to consider like getting a corrupted mods and getting primed mods and some of the other mods I showed you and stuff like that. So melee weapons, pressure point, like I said, just keep that in mind. Usually when I mod a weapon, I throw the basic damage mods in there, and then I go off of what I'm going to put in there for the rest of them, like whether it's going to be crit or status. Let's take a look at this one real quick. We'll take a look at the base stats on the Legion. So some of these mods, like right off the bat, like they'll already have a type of elemental damage on them, just to keep them, or not mods, but weapons. Some weapons have a type of elemental damage on them already and stuff like that. So also keep that in mind, like, stuff like your heat swords. Like your heat sword will already have heat on it. I know that's one of the weapons that you get earlier on when you're first going through the star chart and stuff like that. But as you can see here, my crit chance on this is only 5%, so I might not want to mod it for crit. But when you go down further, you see the status chance is 3%. So, it would be more beneficial for me to mod this weapon for status, because that is the more prevalent. And as you can see there through my modding system, I don't know why this one's missing one. I might have upgraded the mod and might have taken it out of the build. So I'll have to take a look at it. But yeah, as you can see, the mods that I have on there, I brought that 30% up to an 84% chance of status. And like I said, going off of the different damage types, it will let you know the combination that you should probably use for the status. In this case, since this is a slash-based weapon, again, I used viral and stuff like that. So, and one of the things I usually like to run is, like a couple things. Like, thing about this game is it gives you like different configurations, so you could do different builds. This one's my Aklex, like right here. I have this for radiation. This is basically for doing the Eidolon fights. I mean, I don't really use them, but if I'm in the middle of doing damage on it, and for some reason I don't want it to run away and stuff like that, and my because I use a Vectis Prime for the primary that does radiation damage as well, and it does pretty well. That I hardly ever have to pull out these, but just in case, then I like to have them there. So we're hunting Eidolons. Like, obviously this is the configuration I had on. Now if I go and do something like a Grineer mission or something like that, where it's higher level and there's a lot of enemies and I want to melt their armor, then I have a corrosive build set up on this as well. And these do they do fairly well against the Grineer. But it's the cool thing about this game is you can mod, you can do whatever you want, you have the freedom and everything like that. I mean, if you've been playing this game long enough, you see from all the different customization options and all that, and it just keeps evolving, because I haven't specifically about any of the Planes of Idle mods and how they are. And the thing is, a lot of the veteran channels are still kind of feeling these out, but they're coming up with some pretty cool builds. And I'll leave some channels in the description and stuff like that. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to put that out. And the reason why I wanted to is, like I said, I don't want to do a beginner's guide or anything like that. Just full information for newer players to kind of look at you and stuff. I have a lot of guys in my clan, like they're up to the second dream, still haven't learned, modding system. But I had a 11 player tell him that if he just did the auto installation, then he'll be fine. That's what to do, and it's like, wow, that guy has obviously either spent a lot of time leveling, but usually when you're mastery rank, you at least kind of inclination as far as like how the mod system works, and that's pretty much all I could think of right now and stuff like that. Hopefully this helps out somebody the game, and just kind of help them think about the mod system and kind of get a clearer picture. I hope it does, at least. But and then again, maybe the cardinal sin is the Destiny dude and talked about a bunch of stuff that players need to know at this time. But either way, dog meat, I'm out, and I hope you guys are enjoying Warframe as much as I am, because I love this. And again, congratulations to 5 years, and congratulations to the community for 5 years. It's amazing. You went from 20,000 now, players to now, I guess like it was like 38 million or something like that. That is very impressive. So, I'm just glad to be a part of the ride, man. So, anyways, you guys have a good one.